things that you think about.
We talk about love, conspiracy theories, and wellness.
On All About You, nothing is off the table. Your thoughts and opinions drive the conversation.
Hello and welcome to the All About You show with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about and some things you don't. I am your host, OMG, along with my co-host,
Silky Smooth
and Daydream.
And as always, family, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we ask that you please join in on the conversation, where your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions help drive the conversation. Today, we're going to talk about two things. The first segment of our show, we're going to talk about, we did a show a couple of years ago, basically, on the DNA kits, the 23andMe and the Ancestry.com. We were not in support of it. So just here recently, the Pentagon warns the military service against using these DNA tests. And so these kits are supposed to cause security issues, and also they can do tracking as well as mass surveillance. And you never really know what they're doing with this information. So I find it odd that the military don't want their agency to use it. But everybody else has done it. 15 million other people have done it.
Right, and they're encouraging everyone else about how great and wonderful it is, and how we need to move to this type of technology. We need to be dependent upon it. See, that's
I don't
what
like
gets me.
somebody telling me I need to do something.
Yeah, don't.
Especially if it's still a mystery.
Well, the society are followers.
Absolutely.
So they're not leaders, they're followers. And so that's what they count on, the masses of the people being persuaded and following what they suggest. Power of suggestion, power of persuasion. So they tell you what you need, you're like, I guess I need this.
After a while, a lot of people are going to say, because they're going to keep pushing the word need.
See, that
They're not
going to
they're not going to say, well, this is something you would want to have or would like to have. They're going to say, no, you need.
Well, see,
that's the operative word.
Absolutely.
It's rhetoric.
Absolutely. And it's semantics. It is there to make you feel like, you're not in vogue unless you know your whole history, your genome from, the African continent and all this other stuff. You have to know and lots of times that's not always accurate. They say Ancestry.com is probably more accurate and have more data than 23andMe. But more importantly, some of this information has caused issues because I think they have one now that delineates your health issues or something, whatever runs in your family. Do you know about that?
Yes, I've heard of something that has to do with genetics, if you're predisposed to certain conditions. And of course, the first thing they tell you is find out if you're predisposed to certain types of cancers. Right. All the fear mongering that they do, they get you all hyped up. It's just like with vaccines.
They do.
You need this, you need that.
Same thing.
Yet if you actually talk to nurses and those in the medical profession, they discourage it. They said you don't need to get vaccinated. They're noticing an increase in autism and neurological diseases and everything else. And they're like, it's amazing what prevention can happen with simply washing your hands.
Very simple.
Not touching, putting hands to mouth, not sharing after each other.
Putting your hands in your eye.
Absolutely.
On your face.
Basic things. They said all these basic things make a huge difference, and yet Big Pharma keeps pushing and pushing and pushing for, we need vaccines for this, we need vaccines for that. If you actually stop and listen.
They're serving themselves.
Absolutely. And pay attention when they're rambling on real quick about how you need this vaccine and everything else that needs to happen.
That's true.
Pay attention to what they're telling you, because it'll even say, this vaccine isn't for the current strain that's out right now, but it helps 6 other strains.
Yeah, but why give it to me if it doesn't serve me for right now?
Exactly. If it's not going to do anything for me, why do I need to keep pumping myself up with all these things? Because we're guinea pigs.
We are. And back to the DNA kits, it said the Pentagon is advising troops that there are security risks to include mass surveillance and potential tracking associated with using consumer DNA kits. The products have become more popular in recent years with people looking to discover potential medical issues or uncover information about ancestry and even find unknown relatives. Now, as it goes down a little further, it says, moreover, there is increased concern in the scientific community that outside parties are exploiting the use of genetic data for questionable purposes, including mass surveillance and the ability to track individuals without their authorization or their awareness.
Without their authorization or awareness.
They can clone you later on, 30 years from now. We don't know.
And there's nothing
Henrietta Lacks.
Yeah, right.
Anybody have to read that in school?
Yeah, we all know about it.
Henrietta Lacks
Absolutely.
story? Yeah.
We're not paying attention. We're so busy following that we're not using our own ability to reason and to think about what's best. And so
right, we're so busy with our faces down in our phones
we
and in
are,
our tablets,
are,
and
we
you know
are.
we're not paying attention to everything else that's going on around us. You know, the same thing was going on with chemtrails, and still continues, except now where people have talked about it more and it's out on social media more. Pay attention at night, people, when you're out there. So you may not notice it anymore during the day, but go out there at night.
Well, you know,
and
it's
you
odd
see them
that you
flying
say
around.
that. Well, I talked to a friend of mine today, and he basically was saying, because he's, you know, he drives over the road trucking and has his own company. So what he had said that like 4:00 in the morning when he's up driving, there's an orange haze over the entire city. He says. So a lot of times that's all of the sludge or fog or smog, whatever it is, coming from these chemical companies and all these companies that
different cities or Houston.
Houston.
Oh.
He's saying when he get, you know, at that time of morning, most of us are asleep.
Right.
So basically, there's an orange haze that probably dissipates by the time we start getting
It burns off.
by the time we move around.
Right.
But look at all the stuff that we're ingesting, the chemtrails, all of this stuff is there. It's not to help. They even have drones that drop stuff, you know.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
we can't win, but we consistently choose to believe what the government says, what the pharmaceutical companies says, what the doctors say. See, again, in my world, they are practicing medicine, you know. So sometimes it's wise that you know, learn how to take care of yourself in a more naturopath sort of way. But you know, this DNA kit, guys, we told you. Not saying we told you so, but we told you so. Bottom line is, stop putting your information out there. They've already got what they need anyway. They've got the iris thing, the thumbprint. They've got all we got biometrics and stuff there.
Right. And here's the other thing about it is, whenever you're doing these DNA things, oh, it's so cool. I want to find out this. I want to do that. Oh, you know, I'm going to donate to this private organization for blood. You know, especially right now that they've announced how there's a blood shortage of type O blood.
That's the original blood type.
Type O, yes, a positive and negative is what they're in their
black
need
people.
of. Well, there is a huge shortage.
Melanin.
There's a huge shortage of type O blood right now.
Are you serious?
Yes, it was out yesterday, the day before. MD Anderson went out and made an announcement that they are in dire need. A lot of patients are not getting the full amount of treatment they need, and they need these transfusions in order to be able to participate in their chemotherapy and everything else. So
Right, because I noticed at the University of Houston downtown, they set aside a big area for people who are going in and don't. Oh, it's
right. And
sure.
see, with that being said, people pay attention. This is the perfect opportunity where scammers, hackers, everybody else will get to you. And you'll have those private, quote unquote, private organizations and agencies. Oh, donate your blood. It's a shortage this, a shortage that. And they're not actually donating to hospitals or for treatment centers. They're using that to sell on the black market or to do God knows what with your information. Read the fine print. When you send your information off, what they do with it afterwards is their business.
Well,
you have no control.
In the small print that you sign, it gives them full
Terms and-
autonomy to
terms-
do whatever
it's the terms and
they
conditions.
want. And you just not even reading it because it's so tiny. It's kind of like the end of a broadcast for a pharmaceutical product. It's done so fast. Yeah, right.
Sound like they're an audition.
And that's
Yeah.
you did a very good job of that. By the way, you must have practiced it.
Well,
Good
you know,
job.
when you work these different
I
events,
know, I
auctioneering and you hear it, it's like, okay, well, what?
And that is the power of speed, people. It makes
Right.
you not pay attention. And on that tip, we'll be right back. We have to go to break.
Listening to The Bridge. Share your opinion by calling 713-789-0096. State.
You can't see it.
I forgot another one thing is we always America is always so concerned about ourselves, but we're not the scary ones. Right now, China is the surveillance state. They have all the technology we have because we have it, and they don't have the same protections in place or people arguing. So the way they're utilizing the technology is far more scary than what we're doing here, and no one's talking about that. But people, guess what? People actually go to other countries when they travel. So if the technology is readily available here and other people have duplicated it, then that's something that other countries can have. And the way they use it is definitely different. So imagine having, Russia We know they have it.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
China is now in the midst of disputes to be for surveillance because of how they're using the technology. So
We have no clue how they're going to use any of this stuff, including
no, they're using
They're
it
using it
now.
now.
That's what
Yeah.
This is not in question.
Yeah,
There,
I mean us.
but the implication is that we're arguing here, but this is a global world. So the more technology we have, the closer it brings us together.
That's true.
And if there's already a country like China that size, that has a huge market share, that is considered a surveillance state, then there's only a matter of time before other countries, including ours, have to do certain things to keep up with what they're
them.
doing.
She's going to have to do essence.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we're coming back in.
And then
I'm just saying, like,
okay.
we always look
Yeah, then I also.
ourselves.
I know.
There's other people out
Right.
there.
You get some?
So what are they selling our information about?
Of course they are.
I'm just saying, like, we're not even.
The speculation,
Out the US.
speculation is as broad and ambiguous
Who knows
as
what they do?
the global scene is. You know,
We cloning our organs.
that's why I said they're clones. We don't know if we're dealing with clones from 30 years ago.
3, 2, and 1.
Live racing is back at Sam Houston Race Park. Join us for 50-cent beer from 6 to 9 p.m. every Friday. Get a luxury suite for 10 people for as little as $2.99. Our Winter Circle restaurant is just $33 a person, which includes tax, gratuity, and admission. On January 26th, it's the biggest day of racing in Houston, the Houston Racing Festival. Admission is free, and one lucky fan will win $10,000.
Damn, I need to go.
Sam Houston Race Park. Major League Racing, Major League Cash, Major League Fun. Please drink responsibly.
And go for the fun.
Go for the
Absolutely.
fun.
Always a great time.
The first generation wireless 1G was voice. The second generation 2G allowed both talk and text. The third generation 3G, the internet, in a limited way. And today's technology, 4G, completed that digital migration. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way.
And we are back. You're listening to the All About You show, and we're going to talk about 5G. Now, you just heard the intro of the different generations, and so the fifth generation of wireless technology for digital cellular networks began employment in 2019. So there's a race that's on right now. All of our U.S. carriers, cell carriers, have some form of 5G, and also 5G has 3 flavors: low band, mid band, and high band. None of these are incompatible. None of these are compatible, and at the same time, they're very different from each other. So again, as the gentleman said earlier, we don't know exactly what we're getting. For instance, the first 4G phones in the United States appeared in 2010, but the sort of applications that changed our world didn't happen until later. Snapchat came in 2012, and Uber came widespread in 2013, while video games over the long-term evolution became widespread in 2013 as well. So 5G is really an investment in the next decade, and 5G will transform our world, creating an ecosystem where everyone is connected to everything all the time, and changing how we live, work, play, and as well as learn. And we really need to pay attention to this, guys. Again, the question is, do we know exactly what it is or what it can become? It is predicted as a killer among us. It is said to be of military-grade technology. Can it be weaponized? What type of applications will this 5G be able to perform? Some say mood control you emotionally, control you physically and psychologically. So with that, are we ready for any of this?
Absolutely not.
No.
Like they said, how did they market it? Faster uploads.
That's it.
Faster
That's right.
connectivity.
Wideband.
Better connection.
Longer lasting
your
battery.
bandwidth and your
Longer
bandwidth.
lasting.
Route, right, sharper technology, but what they're not telling you is they honestly have no idea what side effects putting up these extra cell towers is going to do, because it's not, neither one of those bands are compatible with the other, but what they're doing is creating things and putting into an effect where they cannot they cannot function without the other. So because there's so many users on the network, so many people on internet, so many people connected, smart homes, smart appliances, smart telephones, all this technology comes at a price. And so what they're having to do is connect, and because we want these self-driving cars and all this other cool stuff, and for Alexa and Siri to talk back to us, that's how they're connecting all of it. They're forcing for us to have to move into this direction.
Like they've done everything else.
Yes, but think about all those scary movies, where the car shuts down. OnStar, they shut down the vehicle. They do this. They're gonna do that with your homes.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You
that
have
movie
no
where it
control.
locked the couple in the car, drove them somewhere, and then somebody then released it during the.
That's always been my theory, I guess, is that and they call it conspiracy theories, if you will. It's more analyzing the conspiracy that's out there, but there's a lot going on. We're just not paying attention. We can't be mad. We do this show, listen, to help wake you up. Now, a lot of you are woke. There's so many of us that are not. I can't wait. I would love to have the opportunity to talk to Ricky Smiley, because he too agrees with us.
Right.
He did a video that basically said, if your radio station is not telling you this, if your preachers are not telling you what we're telling you from the pulpit, you need to change churches as well as radio stations. Right. So while we are twerking, interested in Cardi B and what she's doing and what she's bringing, and Kim Kardashian and where they're going and this and that, a lot of stuff's going on in the back,
who's pregnant,
in the background, and we're missing the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And see, like you said, with self-driving cars, all of that's coming. AI, all of this.
In this recording, self-driving.
In this recording, it basically says that it is a killer. We have no clue of what it can become. They're not letting this. We're feeding a monster.
Right.
And we're doing it willingly. And it's a monster that's going to come back and bite us, literally bite us, disintegrate us, and we're happily doing it. We're training it. Thank you everyone who's been following along on our feed. Thank you, Richard, of course, Dwight Brannon, our own Headmaster D. Good to hear from you. Sing that song, Ned, Jenny, Mark Ramirez, Mark Wisnowski, Eddie Blanco. I think you're a first time watcher. Welcome, Candace and Jason, of course, my mom, Mary. Always tuning in. So thank you guys so much for your support. Give us a call here at the studio, 713-789-0096. We would love to hear from you, whether it has to do with 5G, technology, your experience with it. If you totally disagree with us, give us a call. Let us know. I want to know. We want to know where you're coming from on that. And also about DNA technology and things like that. If you have any comments or opinions on that.
All of this stuff is related.
Absolutely.
All of it is
It's all intertwined.
And see, what the people don't want to pay attention to is, it's just happening. They're just giving us all these conveniences. Years ago, before it became popular for people to even remember that Lone Star and LoJack and all this stuff, I said back then, however long when it came out, well, if you can unlock my car for me from the airport somewhere, that means you can lock me in my car.
Absolutely.
See, I get that fear of somebody having that type of control. Now we have people killing people in their own homes.
Right. Now we have drones. So we don't have to leave where we're at. No one has to leave their place, their little hiding space, their panic room or anything in order to commit something heinous. This is what this technology is allowing.
It's scary. Like I said, you don't know what it can become, and that's the fear.
Right, and there's a reason why they're having to slowly feed it to us, and why they won't use this so widely when it comes to the military.
And the military shut it down. And
that should tell you something right there.
That's the same thing I said. In my mind, I remember as a little girl, and this may sound crazy, watching Tarzan. And when I used to watch Tarzan, there was always the white man that would come to Africa. He drove a Range Rover back then, and he had a phone.
The big old satellite phones that they still use.
So phones have been around 50 years. The international network, which is internet, that's military as well. Everything pretty much goes through military protocol first. They release it to us when it is allowable for them to be able to edit it, surveil it, do whatever they need to do with it, and be in control of it. This, they say, is a military grade of technology, 5G. So it can be weaponized. They also said it can have some effect into controlling your mood.
I don't doubt it. They keep saying, it's non-iodized radiation waves versus iodized, and there's the danger. but the amount that you're putting out, we don't know if that's a safe amount. You know, they did studies years ago as far as radiation from cell phones on mice.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen
And
that.
this was when it was, 2, 3, and 3G phones. And if I remember correctly, they said, well, in male mice, you saw an increase in the radiation levels, like dangerous levels, cancer-causing levels. It was kind of insignificant in females. And then someone who was contradicting the study claimed, well, yeah, but look at the amounts that they expose them to. It's like 4 times the amount of what's safe for human exposure. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen.
Right, or they don't have the ability to
or
increase
prolonged
the exposure without saying
exposure.
anything. Yeah, or prolonged.
And again, this was when it was 2, 3, and 3G technology.
And so
We're on
now
5G.
And that's probably not the highest. It's just where they've stopped
What they've
to
introduced,
introduce
right.
to us now.
Yeah.
I tell you all the time, movies and all this stuff gives you a clear indication of where we're headed.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that you think is just for entertainment, no, it is to make you aware, if you are privy to that mindset, that this is what's coming.
It's like a warning.
It's a warning.
Yeah, we're
it's a
entertaining
quiet,
you, but we're
it's a
warning
soft warning for those who know.
Put it this way, people. For those of you who've ever partaken in any type of psychological or herbal type of activities, it's about your tolerance. So what some people will do is what they call microdosing. Let me take a little bit because I don't want to have such a harsh reaction. I don't know what my body's going to do with the full dosage of something. So let me just slowly take it so I can slowly start getting used to it. So basically when I take a mushroom, I'm not going to have like trip balls to the walls. You know what I mean? Because I've gotten used to taking the substance so it doesn't hit me as hard. Right. That's the exact same thing they're doing with technology.
Yes.
That's the exact same thing they're doing with all these virtual reality and everything else. But with 5G, that was one of the other things that they kept like trying to push was like, oh, well, virtual reality will be even better. Why do you need a virtual reality? Why can't you just be in reality?
My question
Why do you have to have
exactly.
it virtual?
The main
Why
thing
can't you
is
just be in reality.
all of our information, which is our reality, is virtual.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute you can't think of your password, you got to go into, and other things in the clouds, you got to go to them to get they actually want information and access to all of your devices. So if you have it on here and then you can't remember something and you decide to go to your tablet or they want all of your devices.
What do you think they want you to see?
Pretty soon, that's exactly right. Pretty soon they're not going to want to give you your own personal information.
Correct.
Because you are now, reality-wise, living in a virtual world.
Correct. You don't really exist. Things don't really exist. Thank you so much. Evelyn has tuned in. She says, yes, tower expansions are everywhere. And thank you. She posted onto our comments on the live feed. For those of you who are able to, you can click on that link. And it's about Katy residents who turned out to protest a proposed cell tower. So what you're going to notice now, people, is there's not it's not going to be these huge, big cell towers that you see. They're going to be smaller. They're also shorter, so they're less noticeable. But they're
inconspicuous. That's the idea.
Right, but there's going to be more of them. It's just smaller versions, but even more of them as opposed to the big ones.
Now, bear in mind the radio frequency waves that it emits. See, the EMP that's come about as a result of this, the electromagnetic pulse, it's going to be some stuff, people, y'all really, and I'm not trying to put any fear out there, it's just giving it some thought. But again, I've always been one, and you all know me, I charge my phone in one room. I sleep on the other side of the house. So if you call me on my cell phone at a certain time, I'm not going to answer it. I'm saying that to say our TVs, our tablets, our cell phones, all of it emits RF waves. And so with that, we have to be conscious. I've seen friends put their cell phone in their bra. And I'm like, sweetie, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's an old habit.
Yeah, I see women do it. And I actually, not knowing them, will say, may I make a comment? And you didn't ask for this, but may I just tell? And I just go ahead and tell them, don't put that there. We shouldn't really have this stuff near our bodies.
Right.
Okay? And so, and we really can do without it, because the broadcast that we were playing a few minutes ago, there's a guy, one of the scientists, who basically said he goes through the world with no cell phone and no credit card. So you have a lot of people that are privy to what 5G is and what it can become.
Right.
And we haven't a clue about that.
Right, come on. Even if Elon Musk, the one who was all pro technology and
AI.
everything else and had no problem with funding, even he said, look, there comes a certain point, just because we have the capability
Doesn't
does not mean
mean-
that we should do
No.
it.
You don't have to exercise everything. All
Absolutely.
things are not expensive.
You know, and also it says that 5G networks again will expand rapidly in 2020. So you're going to see these towers popping up. But also, I found out that I guess it's shorter because it cannot go through or travel through trees and that sort of thing. So basically, open areas is pretty much where 5G is most effective.
So you're going to see these short towers or thin towers or whatever they are, just in open fields.
Some of them can be. Well, they're saying basically that it works better there. That it slows
Less
down.
congestion. Yeah,
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about it.
right.
Just
Yeah, the country areas where you don't have
rural area.
rural areas.
And it's again, it will connect everything and everyone. I may not want to be connected.
Yeah,
I don't.
This is what I said earlier, the first of the year. Delete. This is too much. This keeps you worried about what they're going to do with your DNA, what they're going to do, you know, with all the testing that's out there. I don't believe in giving blood. You know, anyway, I just don't believe in it. And so, you know, again, you don't know what they're doing with your blood, just like we found out later on what they're doing with organ harvesting. I mean, there's a lot going on, people, and there's so many black women and children that are missing that you never even hear about. Hispanic, never hear anything about it.
nobody,
Brown,
right.
nothing about it. It's
Right.
gone.
Right, Evelyn, thank you again. She also stated that the article states they're protesting, the Katy residents are protesting the tower because the company petitioned the city to allow it to build the tower closer to residents than is legally
What?
allowed. So in other words, that company paid
Ooh.
the city of Katy enough money to go ahead and do something illegal
And
because,
hurt
hey, money
you.
talks.
And hurt you. That's what
and
this
harm
is.
you.
Right.
Cause harm.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway, 5G will underpin remote
And
surgery,
right.
self-driving cars, and movies that you can download in seconds and some of the things.
Well, what I was going to say in that right there is why local elections are important, people.
This is why.
Our
Your
engineer's
elected
laughing at this.
official was paid off
To accept all
to
of it,
accept
to
this
allow
bribe.
That's right.
Yeah,
But see,
In public.
in
yeah,
public.
in public,
Yeah.
in front of your face, you know. But again, y'all still voted for Turner, so I guess.
What can we say? You know, sustainability. I think you mentioned something. What did it say? 5G is being employed to make energy and water use more efficient, while cities are preparing to use 5G to monitor air and water quality in real time. And connect car technology is designed to minimize traffic jams and reduce emissions while improving safety. Semantically, they make it sound like this is all for you.
Mm-hmm.
We
You
care
need
about
it.
you. You need
need
this. This is for you. We're not doing this to put money in our pockets, but of course that's what they're doing.
Right.
You know, and I'm not sure at what point do we finally just shut it down and just stop. All of this speed. Why do we need like a 3-hour video or something that can be downloaded in 30 seconds? Why do we need, what's the speed for? Why do I need to connect so quickly? Where am I going? What am I
Because it's
doing?
all about now.
Yeah, 'cause you're trying to
So
do something
because
right
they
now.
created
the faster that we're entertained, that we have all these pretty butterflies and squirrels in our face, and we're not paying attention, the more that's going on. You know,
The
we're
more-
over here
they're
doing this
it.
here
They're-
number.
Yeah.
The more
doing
that they're
a
able to
whole nother
do
thing.
everything in the back, and we allow it to happen.
Wow.
We play dumb.
Well, I don't think we're playing.
Oh, not anymore.
I think
Really
we're
are.
actually dumb.
Absolutely.
And it's been a propensity of theirs to dumb us down, and it has been over the years. And now it's starting. That's starting to speed up too.
Yes.
Oh, the
The
down
dumb,
dumbing.
yeah,
The
the
down
down
dumbing.
dumbing is happening even quicker because your mind is mush now. You have so many things you have to process in the course of a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and information comes to you whether you need it or not. Years ago, I'm still that person who believes, okay, slow it down. I move fast, talk fast, but
Right.
there's some things I
The
just
tortoise and the hare.
okay, right. You know, you
For
want to
real.
move fast, you still get there if you're moving slower, and you'll probably get there safer and better than if you were to go with the speed. But it's just the whole thing that we don't pay attention. They're just throwing technology at us. Pretty soon, I had somebody tell me that while we're dealing with 3D printers and all this, I think it's the Japanese or Chinese that's dealing with 9D. There are numbers
Yes, I heard.
outside of what we can imagine that technology is functioning at.
Yep. Pay attention to Asia people. If you have people who are over there, let them send you information on what's going on, or pay attention to the newest, coolest craze that's going over in China and in Japan, because they are ahead of us in technology.
Absolutely. You know, I knew from years ago that when I had a friend who had gone to Hong Kong, I sold her a house. This was like in the latter part of the 90s maybe. And she said to me, Miss Marion, you have no clue of what you can do with the iPhone. With your cell phone. This was before we were aware that you could take this up to a vending machine and get all, buy cars and do all this other stuff online, paying bills.
Right.
We had no clue of all that. Hong Kong and China, and they were already doing this. So she was like, it floored me to see what the capabilities are for this phone. And everybody's got one, and they made them cheap enough for everyone to have more than one.
Right.
And I don't know what these 5G is going to cost, but I don't think we need it. But again,
No.
Yeah.
What I did notice though was that it was the Androids that already have quite a few 5G phones. I didn't see anything for Apple yet.
Speaking of Androids, I had to replace my phone by force, because remember we talked about planned obsolescence.
yes, and perceived
obsolescence. Well, I'm one of these. I hang on to my device until the bitter end, and their planned obsolescence. Of course, my phone's becoming clumsy, obsolete. I can't use it,
They don't
and
give
I got
updates
forced.
anymore.
Not giving updates, and your power source is running low and all this, and so I had to get another phone, and I saw 5G. I'm like, 5G? Oh, okay, they have something new. Wasn't available yet, but the Androids, because I have an Android, I don't have an iPhone, but they do have the 5G phones
For the Androids?
available for the Androids, and I did see them, and I said, I don't need all those features.
Oh, it's
I
coming.
said, I'm not even interested.
I don't care for Android. Yes, I love an Apple product. It doesn't crash for me. It works faster. I'm a very impatient person. So I'm one of those who I need it now. I don't have time for buffering and lagging and things like that. I just don't have the patience for it. I'm gonna lose interest.
I think Apple has better marketing. I don't think it's the best. I really believe that the operating system for an Android is better. That's just my opinion.
I don't know.
That's just my opinion.
I don't know about all that, but I do know that I'm less stressed when I'm using my Apple products versus when I'm using my Android. And I had always used Android. No. Now I know I truly like an Apple product better because I had used Android before. I refused to switch over. I refused to do smartphones and things like that. I do things when I don't have a choice but to go ahead and start doing them. I'm still on a 6S. I'm going to continue to use my 6S until I just don't have a choice. Like, there's nothing else I can do. And if that means I have to go off the grid, well, I don't have a problem with that.
Hey.
I'm truly fine with that. But, there's things like that they'll market. But look at our shows. Look at us now. We're live feeding off of one phone. Okay, we have another phone for our YouTube channel. We have a phone in our hand because we're going off of another social media source, and both of us have iPads or some sort of tablet in front of us because that's another source that we're using in order to communicate with you guys. And the only reason OMG doesn't have one is because she just said she ain't doing it.
I'm not doing it.
She's utterly refusing, but she makes
okay?
us, but we do it.
And look at all this that's going on around us for this one show.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Right. They don't realize what we have to go with.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring
For
those
one show.
shows.
Yeah.
That's right. So.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on, but again, I just don't think we need all of this stuff. But like Silky said, when we did the show on planned obsolescence and perceived obsolescence, they're going to make us feel like, you don't have 5G?
Yeah, think
Yeah,
about
we're gonna have to bring that show back.
Look at the memes that still go on with people who are like, "Oh, you don't have an Apple? Oh, you're still using this? Like,
we
really?"
have shows that covered all of this over the we've been on air 6 years.
You need
Yes.
to change to
6
Apple.
years this year. I really wish
I'm behind.
Well, it's 6 years.
Wow.
And so I kind of want you guys to, help us in building our listenership, viewership, because the stuff that we're bringing you is stuff that you need to know. We're not sugarcoating, what Cardi B is doing and what some of the entertainers. We very rarely have entertainment like that on our show, like what's going on in TMZ and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because while all that's going on, something more
We don't track
important is going on.
Yeah, we're not too much worried about the gossip.
Yeah.
As we are about the facts. And
there are
things that
enough
matter.
people doing that, so we don't have
We don't have to do that,
Yeah.
but people don't want to. I think it's hard to get people to
Don't make
pay
me
attention
think.
to things that are making them think.
There's
They don't
a
want
book
to think,
that
and
says,
then
"Don't make me
it's
think."
like a fear. I don't want. I've had people tell me, "Well, OMG, I don't want to know." Okay,
Right. All right. Well then.
Ignorance
What
is
can I
bliss
say?
for some people.
I shut it down. I don't know.
Right.
But when you're locked up in your house during the purge,
You can't
you're
get
gonna
out.
be worried.
That's right.
But on
Remember that movie, The Purge?
Absolutely. On that
he had
note-
24 hours to do whatever you
Whatever
want.
you want.
Right. On that note, we'll be right back after this break.
The first generation
Thank you.
wireless 1G was voice. The second generation 2G allowed both talk and text. The third generation 3G, the internet, in a limited way. And today's technology 4G completed that digital migration. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way.
Hold on. I want you to do what we say. We'll say something touch on.
Pay attention to what is really going on. Pay attention to the Internet of
That's how
Things,
we're
what it
thinking.
is, what it's doing,
Yeah.
where it's going. Pay attention to the automation. Pay attention to the 5G towers that are still going up everywhere.
Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. And these effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question.
It's very important that people always look at both sides, and as positive as what the right hand is offering you, always to pay attention to what the left hand is doing. Just because a lot of people think something is right doesn't make it right. Just because a lot of people think something is good doesn't mean that it's good.
It will be impossible to exist in a city or to walk outside without being exposed. There's going to be a cell tower in front of every few houses, and this means that your personal choices, whether or not you personally use a cell phone or hold it 10 inches away from your head, that cannot escape you from your radiation exposure.
This is not a random series of events that have brought us to this point. Even when you look at technology, civilization, industry, the rise of technology, none of this has been random. None of it has been simply a matter of course, simply men inventing things and connecting the dots and moving to the next practical thing. All of it has been done by design to lead us to a certain point. Not a lot of people can really see what is actually coming. It's about to become a very, very different world, folks. This is a very,
You are
very
listening
disruptive
to
technology.
The Bridge. Share your opinion by calling 713-789-0096. Stay tuned.
I think that's when it's going to hit. It's going to get real nasty. Like female camp nasty.
Yeah, really. Say that on there. I believe that.
Oh, okay.
You gonna read that another thing again?
I am.
One time I did see a flash pop up.
I tell you what, election confident, awesome, so it doesn't matter much way.
But they're definitely paying attention.
Oh, no, so recorded, retweeted, and give us a shout. This is the great time, you know.
That was
Just
giving us a shout. Retweeting us. I'm going to come back in on the Sam Houston ad toy.
Back on in 10 seconds.
No, the video. You want the audio?
Yeah.
I'm going to come in on the Sam Houston race part. We'll do that. And then we can come in on the clip.
Yeah, the clip.
Live racing is back at Sam Houston Race Park. Join us for 50-cent beer from 6 to 9 p.m. every Friday. Get a luxury suite for 10 people for as little as $2.99. The Winter Circle restaurant is just $33 a person, which includes tax, gratuity, and admission. On January 26th, it's the biggest day of racing in Houston, the Houston Racing Festival. Admission is free, and one lucky fan will win $10,000. Sam Houston Race Park, Major League Racing, Major League Cash, Major League Fun. Please drink responsibly.
Like I say, come for the fun. I enjoy thoroughbred horse racing.
Who
Now,
doesn't love the
well, you know, the
police?
quarter horse is a little different. It ends too fast for me. I
I
like to
know,
have
I
a long
get it.
race where I
I
got
do
time to get all excited. And I don't know the handicaps. I don't know how to do all that, but I love going to the races. I have loved it for years.
Yeah,
Right.
it's fun.
So I think it's
awesome
a good
experience.
family fun, yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
it's
you
a
have
lot
a good
of fun.
time. But consider going out there. And even when they don't have the races after the month of May, I think they bring in Dotson.
The
Dotson,
pony races,
yeah.
Chihuahua races,
Chihuahua.
camel races,
All of that.
ostrich
And
races,
the corgis.
the corgis, yeah.
Yeah, so
They're
it's
cute.
racing is their game. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, I think we were going to
Play
finish
another thing.
a clip.
Very disruptive in as much as it's going to disrupt the way we live our normal lives if we allow it to be rolled out, if we abide by the parameters that the government's putting in place with this technology. You know, and by around 2030, well, it's all going to be complete. Everyone's going to be in a complete lockdown. And the kids, as I've said so many times, the kids that are growing up through the system now will have no reference point for what the world once was. They'll have no reference point for what freedom even possibly looked like. They simply won't have the concept of it because it won't be anything they've ever experienced. And with 5G, I mean, what people need to understand with it is that it's all military-grade technology. It's not just about monitoring. It's not just about social crediting. It's not just about surveillance. It's also about crowd control. It's about mood control. It's about emotional control. There are so many patents, so many US patents, so many DARPA patents that show the incredible amount of psychological manipulation you can do through electromagnetic radio waves. And not just psychological control, but also physical control. I mean, it's control at all levels you can
For
think
those
of.
of you
It's
who are
right
listening,
across the
I don't know if everyone else caught it, but did you hear the part
Spectrum.
that it says that the future generations will have no
No
idea of what
recollection.
true freedom is?
No
That
recollection at all.
they won't have even a concept of what freedom was.
That's
Okay,
like
y'all
being
heard
born
that.
into slavery. You
Absolutely.
never knew.
You never knew.
You never
and
knew
it
anything
was,
other than that.
I told
It
you
was
we
in a
get
past
into-
life,
we get into
absolutely.
That new world order is coming into full effect.
Right. And he said crowd control. I want to thank our longtime friend Pete. You know,
Hey,
Pete,
Pete.
he did text. He says 5G operates on 100 what hertz? On 100 hertz, megahertz band, or
I
how?
think it's gigahertz.
Or gigahertz, okay. And he says, which is more than
gigabytes,
the crowd,
gigabytes. I'm
which is more. Listen to this. 5G for your cell phones and your tablets and your smart TVs and for your fancy fridges and everything is operating on a band which is more than the crowd control weapons that the governments use. Okay, and you heard the clip. It's about control. It's about mood control.
I said that, yeah.
Okay, it's about confinement. And he says that, of course, means it's inevitable. It will F with our DNA.
Absolutely, it changes your DNA. There's I can't even fathom trying to convey to you guys the importance of what we're letting ourselves go into.
Right.
We're feeding the monster, and so when the monster comes, you know, we'll have no power. We
Right.
will have given it all away because, again, we're going towards a cashless society, which leaves you there with debit cards and credit cards.
Mhm.
Then you have, again, I think the electromagnetic field, there will be a blackout,
Absolutely.
Right.
okay? And when that happens, it's going to be mayhem.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of this is being set up, which is why they're preparing for crowd control and all these other things. It's a
Mhm.
lot that's getting ready to go down.
Right.
And if you are not, and we've done shows on, I'm a prepper. You know, we did
Doomsday
shows on
prepping.
prepping. You better get ready. You better have some batteries and some things that you need.
Right.
And, you
And,
know,
and people, this is serious. I mean, it's very, very serious. Look at what's going on around the world. Earthquakes that are starting to happen. Volcanoes, you know, active or dormant volcanoes that are becoming
becoming
active.
out of
Okay.
nowhere.
Look what's going on as far as what other countries are upset about things that are happening, the things that they're saying, the things that they're doing. Okay, that does affect us. Especially we have the 2020 elections that happened this year, presidential elections. I personally, we were talking about this
Yeah.
off air. These FEMA camps, all you doomsday preppers, like they're ready. And I really feel like this year into next year for 2021, depending upon how the elections end, well, it doesn't matter how the elections end. It's all going to be the same result, in my opinion.
Well,
and from what I'm seeing, in underground news, is the FEMA camps. They're ready. They're ready. We are not ready. We're still living in La La Land. It's that soon for
and
me.
I do not believe, and I've said this before, I do not believe that presidents are elected.
Not at all.
They are selected. And so we just have to hope and pray that the one we have now, 45, not selected again.
Right.
Yeah, please.
And there's even a video. We posted this a while back, and I'm going to see if I can find it so I can repost it and y'all can see it sooner on the feed. I'll even try to post it onto the comment feed for this show, for those of you who've been listening. But it's a video that it pretty much explains the end of the world, how the book of Revelations
Comes to life,
and how it's not going to be in the Holy Lands the way everyone thinks it is. No, this is really happening here in the States, and how Trump and the presidential elections and Russia and all that all fit into that.
It's living. Oh, gosh,
right. We're looking for literal translations and thinking, oh well, that's the Holy Lands. That's what's going to happen to them over there. No,
that's the game.
That's where it initially started, but the end of the world, it shifted. It has shifted hemispheres, and it's actually here. So it's.
See, again, we're followers. So they're going to tell you what they want you to know and have you pay attention to what this hand, see the diamond over here, see that shine over there? Don't pay attention to what this hand is doing. And so we're stuck paying attention to false information when the truth, as we know it, is happening.
Right. See, what's happening is you're stabbing me in the back of my neck while you're telling me to watch this pretty light and how it gleams.
Absolutely.
And then you're also telling me how the reason why my eyes hurt or my head hurts while I'm looking at this has nothing to do with the knife that you're putting in my back. Okay, it's because of the bright brilliance. That's what's bothering you. Oh, okay, yeah. It's the pretty light that's bothering me, not the blood that's gushing out of my head.
Don't be so gullible. Don't be so gullible. That's all I can say.
Right. Thank you so much for everyone who has tuned in and has continued to tune in. Don't forget, just because the show ends does not mean that this conversation ends. Please continue on the feed, on our Facebook page. Give us a comment. Drop us a DM. Hit us up on our personal pages. Like us on our Facebook page, OMG and Friends. Follow along on Twitter, All About You Show. Go to our website, check out the past shows, give us suggestions. Again, we talk about what you think about.
And we have a rotating chair.
Absolutely.
That's
so
right.
anyone
It's
wants to
empty
guess.
for anyone. Oh, and then remind our guests, don't forget to join our Je ne sais quoi, if you care about image, group on Facebook.
Yes.
We'd love to have you and love to have your comments. Again, our Je ne sais quoi.
Thank you for listening.
Our group on Facebook.
Right, and our website for our past shows and for those who want to be sponsors or anything, the website is www.allaboutyouShow.info. That's all about you, the letter U, show.info.
We would almost be repetitive if we were to go back. We've done shows so consistently on excellent topics that actually hit before it actually hits the media a lot of times. And I don't want to, rehash and bring those shows back alive, but I may have to, like prepping.
Have to.
Yeah, planned obsolescence, perceived, all of that. All of this is a plan, and this is not going on by happenstance.
Right, absolutely not.
Stay alert, guys.
Yes. Today's show was brought to you by Image. I make a great employee, executive, entrepreneur, professional etiquette seminars where life skills meet social graces. And you see our book. It's for your viewing. Please check us out on Amazon to get yourself a copy. For more information about Image, please check out www.yourbizzimage.com. That's www.yourbizzimage.com.
Right, and those of you who follow along on the Je ne sais quoi group, please be on the lookout, and also on our Facebook page, we'll be putting more information about special events that will be coming up very soon here at a new spot in town. It's been open for a few months, but we're trying to get some things in place, finish up some logistics and things like that. But once we have all that information, we'll be definitely making that announcement. So be on the lookout and be ready for an event coming very, very soon.
That's right.
Okay, guys. So on that tip, I guess we have to get out of here. We appreciate you listening, and we enjoy the fact if you were to tell your friends, because again, this show is all about you. The information that we're giving you, we know.
Right, and if
And you can't know it, not share it.
Right,
So.
and if you feel like, okay, well, I know all this stuff, I'm good, you know, we're in the same spot. Okay, great, wonderful. But be a blessing to someone else. You know, let other people know. Maybe there's something they're not aware of, or you know, they're the type who needs to see things or get more proof. So absolutely, make sure you share. Thank you again to our sponsors. We love them. They've been with us for years now.
Right.
Sam Houston Race Park. Don't forget to go to their page, like their events, follow along, and yeah, we'll see you on Friday at the races.
Okay. And we shall see you next week on the radio.
Absolutely.
Emotional control. There are so many patents, so many US patents, so many DARPA patents that show the incredible amount of psychological manipulation you can do through electromagnetic radio waves. And not just psychological control, but also physical control. I mean, it's control at all levels that you can think of, folks. It's right across the spectrum. We've seen experiments with MIT where they've injected nanotechnology into rats, and they've been able to switch the genes of the rats on and off using radio waves to operate the nanotechnology. You think about what's in the chemical spray that goes on in the sky, the nanotech in all the foods. I mean, we're being set up in a big way, ladies and gentlemen, and the manipulation that comes through this 5G system is profound. It's absolutely off the charts. It's way beyond what many people are considering. You have the capability of manipulating vast sections of population, targeted areas of population, or targeting people individually, targeting crops individually, biology individually. You think about the nanotech, it's in everything. So anything that the nanotech is in can be manipulated through this 5G system. And the nanotech is in everything. They spray the nanotech in the skies, they put nanotech in the food, even with what we flush down through our drains in our own homes.
I'm your host,
Gets passed on down through the water system, so you see this in the food chain. And
please accept our invitation when we ask that you tune in to the All About You show, where we talk about the things that you think about.
We talk about love, conspiracy theories, and wellness. On All About You, nothing is off the table. Your thoughts and opinions drive the conversation.